So, what are the pitfalls of creating a living trust? We create hundreds of living trusts, and we create very, very, very few last will and testaments on their own by themselves. It's almost always a part of a living trust. When you do a living trust, almost very rarely do just a will. So, what are the downfalls, though? Nothing has all pros. So, what are the downsides? So, I think the first one that we run into is that people aren't really trained that when you create a living trust, it doesn't just poof all of a sudden get rid of all work that has to be done when somebody passes away. It just doesn't. It's not a magic wand saying poof. You never have to talk to a bank again. You never have to deal with selling the house. You never, like, there's still work that has to be done. So it's not a magic wand. It eliminates a bunch of hassles that you have with just a will, but it's not a magic wand. There's still work that has to be done. I think the second pitfall that a lot of people don't realize is that when you create it for the first time, you have to then go around to your bank, your financial advisor, real estate. You've got to retitle all of those things into the name of your trust. Most of the time, you can do that with whoever's helping you create it. They can go through and tell you, here's what happens at the bank, and even do some of those forms for you, so you don't have to figure them out. But if you've got accounts like at Wells Fargo or Fidelity, or you have life insurance, every single one of those has to be notified that you've created a trust. And so it can be some work to go through and deal with all of that and get it funded into your trust. Because if you don't do that, you're going to end up in probate anyway. So, you got to get everything into the trust. And if you don't do that when you set it up, it's kind of like, well, great, you've done a bunch of legal paperwork, but it's not gonna give you the help. It's not gonna give your family the peace of mind that you intend for them. Another downfall. What's another pitfall of living trusts? Um, I don't think there really is any other pitfalls. I think they pretty much do what most people think is supposed to happen by default. We all would wish it happened. It's probably what did happen 50, 80, 100 years ago by default. Not anymore, not with how litigious everything is, and not how banks operate, real estate title companies operate. Nobody wants to take liability for anything. They don't want to do anything unless all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, so it's not easy anymore. So the idea you have in your mind of, yeah, they'll figure it out when I'm gone, maybe that was 50 years ago. Nowadays, you can have that mentality by creating, a living trust, getting it funded, etc. But I don't think there's any other pitfalls. I think they operate with a lot of simplicity for your family when the emergency happens, as long as things are set up correctly and kept up to date by the up to when the emergency happens. Then yeah, I mean that's gonna make things as easy as possible for your family. It's not easier to transfer everything into their name now, because then what? They get in a car accident, or they pass away, or they have an emergency, or somebody sues them. I mean, there's not a lot of better ways to do it. Put it in a trust that you control. There's no difference in how you run your life. Once you set it up, you might as well have it all in there, have it organized, have it simple for you while you're alive, and super simple for them when there's an emergency. So those are the only couple pitfalls I can think of.